I'm going to start with an opener, Alex.
All right.
We complimented a player who a lot of people wrote off, maybe even including myself, if I have to be honest with everybody. A guy who now has etched his name in the record book ahead of Clint Dempsey, arguably the best American striker, goal scorer that this country has ever produced. Raul Ruiz, a absolute beast in his day. Obafemi Martins, a guy that played in the highest levels and unbelievable player for this club. Jordan Morris, leading scorer of this club. Danny Massi scoring 5 goals in 5 consecutive games. I have to tip my hat, and you know that kid has done a great job for this club, and it's selfless running. It's working. It's a great example. Everybody got excited about Paul Rothrock and what a good example. Well, there's example number 2 of what happens when you work hard and you're prepared. And when you get your opportunity, you're prepared for your opportunity. So kudos to Danny Masowski starting us off on a good note tonight.
Coach, thanks for that. He ties Obafemi Martins and Freddie Montero for that record inside of a single season in consecutive matches. So with that, we'll start with questions. Jeremiah, I saw you first. Why don't you get us lead off, please?
Well, Brian, I feel like we need to follow up on that. You mentioned that you maybe wrote Danny off at one point. I know a lot of fans certainly wrote him off at one point. What do you think has changed? I mean, aside from the goals just hitting the back of the net, I have to imagine something has changed beyond that as
His
well.
movement, his movement inside the box where he scored all of his goals have come from, making sure he gets inside the 6 yard box, either at the near post or like this cross today, middle of the goal. So when a center forward puts himself inside the 6, good things can happen. So I think that was something that we as coaches were telling Jordan, we were telling Moose, we were telling Jesus earlier in the year, and Moose actually went out and has done it. And now, he's been rewarded.
All right, next question. We'll go to Jada Evans.
Thank you. Congratulations, Brian. Can you also talk though about him, Danny, and his, I guess his consistency or his patience maybe in training? Because his minutes, he only got like 500 or so last year, and he's almost hit that so far in these games. But he's all in MLS matches. But to be able to kind of stick with it, like were you looking at him trying to maybe find minutes from him because of his performance in training, or what's that patience, I guess, been like from your view of him?
Yeah, last year he had some pretty significant injuries that kept him off the field. Jada, I think this year he's been healthy. Was I looking to reward players that had good training weeks? Yes, I think that's part of the new mantra that we're trying to, because we have such a deep team that guys that are performing well are going to get, opportunities. But again, it's just down to when the player gets an opportunity, has he prepared himself to make sure that he makes the most out of that opportunity? And I think that's what Danny has done.
And then with your decision with Pedro and to pull, I don't know, pull him, but you did not start him and have Kent in there. Was that just regular tactics, or was there anything more for that?
That was my decision. That was my decision. We wanted an attacking guy on one side. Paul's done a great job here in Houston. He's had some very, very good games here in Houston. They had a new player that we weren't familiar with out on the left-hand side, and I thought a little bit of a defensive presence might not be a bad thing. But then, when we went a man up, it was the right timing, and Pedro came on and, started the half on a good note with the assist, and things started to roll for him. So again, it's just part of having a deep squad.
Reminder for media, if you have a question for head coach Brian Schmetzer, please go ahead and hit that raise hand function button. Jeremiah, I see you have a follow-up there. Go ahead and ask it, please.
Yeah, this is a second straight game using the 4-2-3-1. I know we don't like to make too much out of the formation, but it does seem to be working. Is there something that you think is fitting right now particularly well that seems to work with that formation? And is that a sign that this might be here to stay?
Well, it's personnel based. I think it fits this particular skill set of players with the addition of Ryan. We have a lot of, wide attacking type players and trying to get them all on the same field in a, you know, different look. Uh, what I would say, Jeremiah, is again, really to remind everybody, the way we attack doesn't change. We still occupy the same spaces. It's still 3-2 build. We still try and push Obed up, whether we play with true wingers or Alex and Pedro on one side and, Paul and Ryan on the other. The attacking doesn't change. So a lot of that is just minutia. And then defensively, it changes a little bit. That's where you need to dig in and, you can do some research. Defensively, it looks a little different, defending out of a 4-2-3-1. So we'll continue to work on that. But, I thought we were okay today when it was still 11v11, but we'll have to keep fine tuning the defensive side of 4-2-3-1.
All right, Felipe, I see you've got your hand raised. Over to you.
Thank you, Alex. Coach Brian is not just congratulations on today's win, but it's not just Musovski has scored in 5 games. Some of those games were 3 points that he helped to achieve, but also seems like 7 goals in 2 games for the Seattle Sounders. Looks like the offensive of Seattle Sounders has a World Cup for these games and the games ahead.
Well, that's a great statement. I'll follow up with my statement. Yes, there was a lot of times last year, goal scoring was part of our challenges that we faced. I don't think we scored enough goals last year. So in preseason already, the addition of Paul Arriola and also Jesus Ferreira and now Ryan Kent, we tried to address those issues. And you're seeing, again, Felipe, without going too far ahead, some of the work that we did in preseason is now starting to show up. And I think we're a better offensive team.
All right, we will go over to Jada Evans for her follow-up.
Thanks. I just wanted to ask about Jesus. He was able to enter, so his injury is fine, or how is he looking for you?
Injury-wise, fine. Jesus came on, did well. I pulled Yaimar because he was on a yellow. Everybody came out of the game fine.
Okay, last hand I'm seeing is Jeremiah, so go for it, Jeremiah.
Yeah, not to end on a down note, but there was a lot of attacking set pieces that you gave up today, and most of the danger they created was from attacking set pieces. Is that getting to be a concern at this point? Is that, I don't know, what do you chalk that up to?
You got a kid on the opposite team that has a left foot that's really, really good, and you're going to be put under pressure. McGlynn is terrific with those set pieces. So, did we make a couple silly fouls? Yes. Anytime you play against a team that is a really good set piece taker, you're running the risk of, being put under pressure. But I didn't attest to anything. I didn't put it down as anything, life-threatening or anything like that, Jeremiah.
Or no?
I spoke too soon. We do have a first-time question from Noah Riff. Noah, go ahead and ask your question, please. You can close us out. Noah, can you hear us?
There we go. Sorry about that. Just wanted to ask you about Osaze de Rosario. Obviously, he gets a contract, comes in and plays his game in front of his dad as well. Interested on that note.
Great story. Good kid. Thanked me for putting him in the game afterwards. He was super excited. So super talented kid. He's going to come and give everything. Not much else to say. I mean, I think he's had a big week. I might have to chop him down a little bit, Noah. He's had a good week, so I'll keep him grounded and make sure he keeps doing the work because he's a really nice kid.
Appreciate it, Coach. Congrats on the win.
Thanks.